Hello all and welcome back to Random Librarian here on YouTube. I have now been on this site for a minute, so I figured it would be the perfect time to do the Booktube Newbie Tag. So that is the plan for today. I've got the questions over here on my laptop. So let's just jump right in. First question is, why did you start this channel? So I started this channel because I love to read, obviously. I think that one's a given for anyone doing this tag. I had already started a Bookstagram, and I was getting I just passed 1,000 on there, which was really surprising, but it's already a very nice and supportive and fun community to be part of. So I figured, why not try and double the amount of fun I'm having with this kind of reading and sharing and reviewing and book loving community. I had also already had another blog / YouTube channel in the past that was more lifestyle focused, but I hadn't really talked about books that much on there, so I figured, why not start a booktube specific one and see if I could make a go of it that way. And I've just been having a lot of fun with the filming and the editing and being able to talk about books. It's also a great way to keep track of what I'm reading and kind of self-motivate to read more so that I can tell the internet about it. So there's a lot of different reasons why I started this channel, and I'm really glad that I did. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? So, not the most unique thing in the world, but I am a librarian, and I'm a librarian in 2 languages. So I speak both English and French, and I have been working as a librarian in the French language for a couple of years now. So I have that, which is kind of a fun quirk, a knowledge of this whole other language, this whole other country's publishing system, this whole other favorites and the whole prize system. I just have a weird knowledge base that I don't think a lot of English speaking booktubers do. So bilingualism is a pretty fun thing that I can bring to Booktube, but also I'm pretty good at giving recommendations as well, because I have this knowledge base in my head of okay, if someone asks for a recommendation and they tell me they like historical fiction, if they tell me they like romances, if they tell me they like this, those are skills that you learn as a librarian that can kind of help a lot in terms of building recommendations after you've read a book. So just keeping those synapses firing, I think, and trying to translate that to a more static YouTube video-based thing instead of just in conversation. So I hope those count towards fun things I can bring to Booktube. Also, I think I just have a fun personality, so hopefully that counts as well. Question 3. What are you most excited for about this new channel? So I think I've kind of already answered that. I really like the community aspect of it and being able to talk to people about things. I'm really excited to be able to hopefully help some people as well, in terms of not just for the books, but for librarianing. So I did go through my whole MLIS program. I got my degree at Simmons University in Boston. I've already got a couple of videos up about what it's like to be a librarian, things that your librarian wish you would know, my program at Simmons. So I think I'm really excited both to just be able to read and recommend books, but also to hopefully give some answers to people who might be looking for MLIS / library grad school questions and information. So I'm really excited for that. I think being a librarian means that for a lot of people, you become a librarian because you have this need and this desire to help connect people to information. So I'm really excited to be able to do that in a way outside of my day-to-day job, outside of my day-to-day life, and just try and share information that way. So that's something that I'm really passionate about, both in real life and on Booktube. So that hopefully answers that question. So So number 4 is, why do you love reading? I think this is also going to just kind of echo what I've already said. I like reading. I fell in love with reading, and I do still love reading because it's a great way to like intersect between introversion and extroversion, because, well, for me, I get all of my energy kind of by disconnecting, by being by myself, by like finding a moment to just like not be bouncing off other people. So being able to just kind of go and like sit in a corner and not have to like just sit and like think, but be able to sit and like find this whole new world and like discover stories and use my imagination and just everything about reading. I love it so much. But in this idea, like being able to just be by myself and not be lonely because books are there, but also like get energy from that and like relax a little bit. And then once, you know, you get to a certain point, and once I feel like energized from that, being able to go and like tell other people about what I'm reading, recommend books, just get excited about things and like be able to share it with people. I think it covers like both sides of my personality, the introverted side and the extroverted side, and there's just something really special about it. There's like, I don't think there's anything else that really feeds my soul and like my friendships the same way reading does, reading and books. What book or series got you into reading? So I don't think it's actually a particular book or series that got me into reading. I think it's more my mom. So my mom read every night to me growing up. She would take us to the library all the time. I lived right around the corner from from the big public library in my town. And she really wanted us to learn to love reading. And I think for me, the first thing I remember being like, okay, like now I'm going to do this like by myself without her like helping me, was for Harry Potter. Because, so my mom was a businesswoman when I was growing up, and she was like very successful at it. She was flying all over the world. She was doing big things. And on her trips to London, every time she went, she would bring back the Harry Potter books. So like the first couple of ones, I got them before my friends, and I felt like so cool. I felt like I was just the luckiest kid ever that I got to experience this like magic and everything beforehand. So she read the first one to us, my brother and I, and obviously we fell in love with it. Then we got to the point where the basilisk showed up in the second one, and my mom got too scared to continue, and so did my brother. So I had to start reading it by myself, and I had to like really just like, because I wanted to keep going, like it was on me. And I think that was really, I don't know, it was empowering, and I think it was good for me because I realized that I could just do it by myself. And after that, I always had a book on me. And yeah, I could be remembering things out of order. So I definitely loved reading before then. I just don't remember what books I read when. So that was a moment that like stuck in my mind though, because it was like me making the choice, if that makes sense. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? Well, I think this list is a good set of questions to ask anybody. It's kind of just fun questions to answer, fun questions to think on. I mean, also asking questions about like the logistical side of YouTube and Booktube and how people become like booktubers. Like it's interesting to me, but like I don't really understand it. Like even though I had this other blog and I was able to kind of make that work for a while, like I don't get how people like do this as their like big thing that they do. Like I think I'm always going to have like multiple things going on in my life, and I'm always going to have my full-time job, so I don't really understand how people can switch on and just like do booktube instead of anything else. So for like really big booktubers, that's definitely a question that I have, which is just I think how. Um, I don't think it would be good for me if I were to do that, because I would just be sitting in my room with my camera the entire time, and though I would be talking about books to people through the internet, I also think personally I do much better when I'm forced to have human interaction outside of this. So I think just how they make it work and how they stay sane while just talking to themselves in their room for a while, and have that being like their main form of like job or interaction or things like that. So I don't know. I hope that makes sense. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? Right now, the like small challenge of booktube is that it is winter and it gets dark very early in Boston, and I don't want to buy a bunch of things to do booktube. So I have to film mainly on my days off and just like have enough ideas that I have enough footage to edit throughout the week and post and do things that way. So I think relying on lighting it's not a big problem, but it's a problem that I'm dealing with right now. Having enough ideas and enough energy to like marathon post or marathon film, that's also something that I'm currently dealing with. I think I'm pretty good at self-motivation, so for now it's good that I am able to just kind of, you know, keep my head down and like keep going kind of thing. But I think the big problem eventually is that getting followers is a weird thing, and I want to be able to do this just kind of by myself without being like, hi friends on Facebook, I did this thing, if you want to like maybe, you know, follow me, and like meh. Which is kind of what I did with my other channel. So that one has a couple hundred followers, which is still like not much considering how much work goes into things. So yeah, I think staying out of my own way and self-motivating and not getting bogged down in numbers of followers or views or things like that is going to be a challenge for me, but it's something that I'm really excited about it right now. So I'm hoping that like my excitement will just carry me through and that I won't get stuck. When did you start reading? So I already kind of answered that one. Because my mom's been reading to me forever, so I don't remember exactly when I started reading or like started reading by myself, because, you know, when you're a kid, you always want to be like, no, I'm reading it. Even if you can't read yet, you still want to make up the words that go along with the pictures, or if you like memorize the story and you just want to like say the words that you know come next. So I don't know exactly when I started reading, so it feels like it's just been for always, that I've always just been reading. Number 9 is, where do you read? Honestly, everywhere. So this is my little reading nook. So I do read over here quite often, but I also read in bed. I read on the bus or the train if I'm taking those forms of transportation. Whenever I read in the car, I end up regretting it, but I do quite frequently read in the car. But then I get very, very car sick, and that means that no one is happy with that. I read at work. I read when we host book club and things like that. I read at lunchtime. I read, if you count audiobooks, I read on my morning walk to work, on my morning walk home. Basically anywhere I can read, I will. I used to read in a tree when I was a kid, but when my parents sold that house, those neighbors have now cut down that tree, and I am extremely upset about it. So let's not get into that. But I read a little bit of everywhere, and I am comfortable reading everywhere. Ooh, Along the Banks of the Charles is a really great place to read if you are in Boston. I'm sure people know that and do it, but like, it's just very calming and pretty. There's also like in the library, one of the libraries where I don't work, so the BPL has a bunch of good reading spots as well. Their little courtyard is a great way to be like in a library and like literary environment, but outdoors at the same time. There's just so many good places to read. What kind of books do you like to read? Okay. Before this month, I think I would have said like anything but nonfiction, but throughout November, I like challenged myself to read nonfiction books for like Nonfiction November is like a hashtag on Bookstagram right now. And I found some books that I really enjoyed that way. So honestly, I like to read a little bit of everything. I think I take a break for a really long time for like, you know, more academic reads because grad school definitely overloaded me with those, and it's been a couple years, but I still just like don't want to go back to it. So it'll be a while probably before I read anything like academic about libraries or possibly other subjects, but anything in the fiction realm I really enjoy. I don't love romance if it's like this, if that's like what the author is writing specifically, like I'm a romance writer. I don't love that. There's a lot of tropes that just like take me right out of a story. If things are not... Okay, this is turning into like what I don't like to read, but I think that is easier to explain than like what I do, because what I do is pretty much just like everything I like to read. So the only thing I don't really like to read is when it's a story that like you shouldn't have to suspend your disbelief. So like a story that is supposedly based in the real world, but something that is normally either, you know, very hard, very difficult, very expensive, or very consuming. If those things just like magically become super easy in this book, that drives me insane. So for example, in some romance books that I've read, the protagonist has had to find a new place to live, and it just like fell into her lap, and it's the most beautiful place she's ever seen, and it's like $100 a month for rent. Like things like that drive me insane, and it makes me really upset. Also, stories where possessive or strange, creepy, upsetting habits are promoted as romantic. Can't deal with that. So basically anything that doesn't involve those kind of things, like things that would fall under a similar umbrella, I will read and I will enjoy. I do have a couple of rant reviews on my channel, so if you want a more in-depth of like what I don't like, you can go find those. And that is all 10 questions on the Booktube Newbie Tag. So this was kind of a rambly response, but I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. I had a lot of fun filming this and a lot of fun answering these questions. If you know of any other tags that you think I would be a good fit for, that I would have fun with, please let me know in the comments. Yeah. I'm really glad to be part of this booktube community now, even though I am definitely a very like small contributor to this. I don't know too much what I'm doing or how I'm going to continue with my channel, but I'm having fun with it for now. And oh, let me know if there's anyone down below that you think I should be following, or that I should like try to become book buddies with, because you know, everyone talks about how the community is like the main part and it's so fun, and I would love to start spreading my little booktube. I'm torn between saying booktube wings and booktube pages, but either way. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys soon with probably another book review or library specific things. I've also been doing like running related videos on this channel, despite some incongruity there, but I will see you guys soon with another video, likely under one of those categories. I never know how to end these, but thank you and bye.